Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Here we are for another Wednesday. I've got a great guest for you this week. I am so excited for this one. Just checking all the things. Let's see. Showtime. Everything's going live. Here we go. Just checking all the places. So here we are back here again on a Wednesday. Welcome to anybody who is joining us live. It is always wonderful to have you here and to see you. Please be sure to say hello. Let us know if you have comments, you have questions, what's going on with you. I have exciting news. I've been telling you guys that I'm working on I can't think of the name now, but the top from Hand Crochet. It's done. It's finally done. Okay, but don't look too close. I still have the ends not woven in. I finished it last night. Have to block it. I have to say, I'm a little nervous it might be too long, so I'm going to try it on. If it is, I'll just have to rip out. But I love it. It's so beautiful. I can't wait to block it and wear it. Yes, the Hawthorn tee, Katelyn. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, by Hand Crochet. It's over on our website or over on her website as well. But it's done in Hawthorn. It's phenomenal, and it's finally almost done. I have to weave in those ends. It's not done until you weave them in. But I do want to let you know or remind you that we have our summer yarn sale going on. So you can still get all of the yarn on sale. Katelyn, you finished it? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to post it either on Facebook or on Instagram and tag us in it because I'm dying to see it in blue. Please, please, please tag us and show us. Yes, Lee, I hate weaving in the ends too. That's why they go like this. And if I can just tuck them inside and wear it, that's what I do sometimes too, but don't tell anybody my secrets. Okay, so also this week though, that's really big going on with our summer yarn sale is you can get the WeCrochet published ebooks and books for $5. Head on over to just the book page. You'll be able to find it. All of our other books are on sale, but the WeCrochet published ones are $5. And so what does that mean? That means you can grab all of the WeCrochet magazines that have been out for $5 a piece. You'll notice here, I did my own spiral binding because I like when things lay open. You can use a tool called I just lost the name of it. Let me keep thinking on that. But it's from We Are Knitters. We Are Memory Keepers, and so you can do it, and you can do it yourself if you want to have the spiral binding versus the regular binding on the book. So go check that out. Grab all 9 of them for $5 a piece. You won't be sorry. So yes, Frances, we did say amigurumi. Our special guest today is an amigurumi wizard when it comes to dolls, and I am so excited to introduce you guys to her and have her come on and chat with us today. So let me bring her in. Hello! So everybody, this is Yolanda, and she is the phenomenal designer behind My Pretty Brown Doll. And if you haven't seen this book, you've got to go check it out. We're going to talk about it today, talk about her crochet journey and everything else going on. These books, her book right now is on sale over on the site, so you can go and grab it right now during our summer yarn sale. Perfect time to go and grab it. You guys are going to fall in love. So we're going to talk about all of this today. I am so excited. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's just get started at the beginning of the story. How did you get into crochet? We all need to know.
So I actually learned how to crochet from my great aunt when I was 7 years old. So no YouTube, no magazines. She literally just put yarn and hook in my hand and said, do what I'm doing. And I was like, okay. And so I did what she was doing, and I had dishcloths for days. At least that's what she told me they were. She said, these are dishcloths. We will watch these. And so I actually crocheted for a really long time. I made dishcloths. And finally my dishcloths did turn into like a scarf, and then from a scarf to a blanket. But this was like all through middle school, high school. I did not stop crocheting until I went off to college. And then I thought that I'm too cool for crochet. So I was like, I want to do college girl things. And so went on to live all my college dreams and things like that. And then I saw another older lady crocheting. Well, she actually wasn't crocheting, she was loom knitting. But it reminded me that I knew how to do something similar. I knew I didn't know what she was doing, but I was like, I know how to do something like this. And so I immediately went to the store and got yarn, and I saw crochet hooks. I was like, that's what I was doing. I picked up crochet hooks. I bought a how to crochet book because although I thought it was like riding a bicycle and I would remember, I definitely needed a refresher. And so I started crocheting like hats and scarves. And my main thing was like the slouchy beanie. I was obsessed with those. Like everybody had slouchy beanies and affinity scarves. Those were my two favorite things to crochet. And so this was back in 2011. I did not make my first doll until 2013. And I really just made it to see if I could make one. It was just kind of like, can I make a doll? Let's just see if I'm able to do it. And so I made it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like very tedious, and I don't think I want to make anymore. Like, it was a lot of work to be just a single crochet stitch. I was like, is she ever going to be finished? Because this is a lot. This is a lot. But I also fell in love. I was like, but she's so pretty. Like, she's gorgeous. And so I posted her on Instagram, and so many people were just like, oh my gosh, how did you do it? Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. Oh my gosh, can you make me one? And I was like, no, because it takes forever. I cannot do that for you. But it did spark something in me. And the reason it was a brown doll is because clearly I am a brown girl. And when I went on the internet and I was like Googling crochet dolls, I did not see a brown doll. And I was just like, well, that's weird. But it wasn't like a big deal. It was just like weird. I was like, this is weird that I don't see a brown one. And then I kept searching, and I finally did find one on Etsy. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I was like, but of course mine, I was like, if it's supposed to be a reflection of me, then clearly we're going to make it a brown doll. And so basically that's how that journey kind of started, because it was just like, then I was like, well, let me make another one to see if I can change this. And let me try this yarn to see if I like this yarn better. Because I think the first one I made, I did it with Karen Simply Soft. And she was real kind of flimsy, because if you're familiar with Karen Simply Soft, it's a soft yarn, and probably not the best yarn to use for a doll. But she was like, yeah, I call her Patience. Patience tried my patience. For
perfect name.
So, and so I was like, well, let me try a different type of yarn to see if I like that better. I ended up trying a cotton yarn and fell in love with the cotton yarn. Like I just really liked the way it worked up for me. And so I started making dolls with cotton yarn. And in 2015 is when I decided to see if I could mimic the hairstyles that are popular in the African-American culture. And so I was just like, well, I got to make one with Afro puffs, because that's like a rite of passage for little Black girls to have when they can put their hair in Afro puffs. And so that is when Miss Mia was born, which is the very first doll pattern that I put out into the world. It is what inspired the book. Mia is the doll that the book is kind of patterned after. And so Mia was born with her 2 Afro puffs. And it was just my way of saying, if we're gonna make a doll and we're gonna call it a brown doll, then she needs to be a true representation of the culture. Because it's one thing to use brown yarn. Like, I feel like that is your first step, because a lot of people would say, well, just use brown yarn. And that is the first step into making a brown doll or a doll of color, is choosing the skin tone. But then the next step, there are other things that you have to think about. That is this doll a true representation of the culture? And what things would you think about then? And so the hair would be the next important thing that you would think about. And so those Afro puffs were super, super important for me. Finding a yarn that would mimic that texture, that, you could make small puffs, big puffs, little puffs. And so that was very important to me. And then we moved on to like braids and beads and locks and all these different hairstyles, like I said, that represents the African American culture. So that was important for me.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about this book is, there's aspects of dolls that you can make across the board. It doesn't matter what color you're making it, what gender you're making it, or anything else. It needs 2 arms, it needs 2 legs and a head and a body. Actually, you don't even need 2 arms and 2 legs. You can make it to make you however you want.
Exactly.
And that's what's so great about creating your own doll, because when you go into the store, you're not always finding somebody that exactly represents you.
Exactly.
And it was like the big thing when the American Girl dolls, when they finally did like the create your own doll, so that you could pick the hair color, the skin color, the eye color, and you could make yourself. It's finally a time you can see yourself in your own toy.
Exactly.
That's exactly what this book does. And, you and I were chatting about this before we went live, that I feel like the hardest part about making dolls is the hair. And it doesn't matter what kind of hair you're doing, what color hair you're doing. It can be very challenging to get it to look like your hair.
Exactly.
You unply it. Do you have to curl it? Do you have to, how are you going to get it to look like your own hair to make it representative of you? And this book really has some great things.
Yes.
Before we keep chatting, I do want to tell everybody, I put the link in the chat for purchasing the book if they want to grab it. And I also put in Yolanda's website, because there is an option there that you can get a signed copy if you want to. And you'll also be able to find like her Instagram and everything else so that you can follow along with what's going on. So that's all at her website to check out. So, okay, inside the book, I just want to tell everybody, it starts off and you have your doll base. And so it's a basic doll. And then really what you're changing up, sorry, it's backwards, is the clothing that go on the doll and the hairstyles that are going on. I love this also because there's so many different outfits in here. So again, we talk about representing ourselves in the dolls, the way we look, but you're also representing the things that people can do, that women can do, especially because, I think most of the dolls are all women or girls in here. And so there's a scientist, there's a soccer player, there's a ballerina with a tutu, there's a mermaid. Like it stretches across the board. And I think that's what's also great about this is it's not just inclusive to bring in everybody into the doll world, but it's also the clothing that you can make and you can mix and you can match and you can pick what fits you or the person you're giving it to.
Exactly. And that was important for me because, like I said, it's one thing to see yourself, like to see, oh, that looks like me. But if we think about dolls in if we're thinking about dolls in the sense of little girls, this is like what sparks their imaginary play. This is the thing that says, for me, I like to say, this is what sparks those dreams sometimes. Because if you have never seen yourself as a scientist, do you really believe you can be a scientist?
Exactly.
And then when you see it and the scientist looks like you, she has curly hair or she has afro puffs or she has braids and beads. Now all of a sudden, oh wait, I can do that. The same thing with like being a ballerina. Like, wait, I can be a dancer. I can have a tutu. And so it was important for me to have those elements as well. And even down to the mermaid, we're thinking about mermaids. It was important for me for that mermaid to have short hair. Like we're used to saying mermaids have long flowing hair, but what about the little girls that don't have long flowing hair? Does that mean that they can't imagine themselves as a mermaid? Does that mean that they can't be a Ariel? No, it does not. It means that somebody needs to make a mermaid with short hair. And so I am excited that my name gets to be attached to that. I think the other part for me too that I didn't think about until I really got the book in my hands was the brown hands in the book. Like I said, I learned how to crochet from my great aunt. And so for me, it was, I'm just sitting at her knee, just crocheting. But when you as a crocheter, there are not, I have a nice, what I consider to be a nice collection of books. When I open them, these are not the hands that I see.
No.
And again, on the surface, it's not a big deal. I'm trying to learn how to do the stitches. I'm not necessarily paying attention to the hands until I pay attention to the hands.
Right.
And then as a crocheter, it becomes, wait, we do this. I do crochet. Yep. We are out here, because the fact of the matter is, this is a community that is dominated by people who do not look like me. And so the assumption would be, well, Black girls don't crochet. And that's not true. It's right. We don't see it. And so that is the assumption that we make. And then all of a sudden when we do see it, it's like shock and amaze. Like, I cannot tell you the number of people, when I say I made it, they look at me as if I'm lying. I'm like, no, for real, I made it. Like, I really did make this. Because it's just like, oh, you crochet, you love yarn, you're in this. And I'm like, yes, I'm passionate about it. I have a whole room dedicated to yarn. I should be ashamed of myself, but I am not.
No shame.
So that was the other important piece for me, to make sure that other crocheters who look like me, other Black and brown women, other women of color, or not even women, other people of color who crochet can see themselves and say, oh, we do this, and we can be experts in this field. Not only can we, but we are, because a lot of times, we kind of downplay what we do. I've talked to other Black crocheters, and they're just kind of like, oh, well, I don't want to put myself out there because, it might not be as good as such and such, such and such. And I'm like, well, now who said that? Who gets to make that determination? And so again, that was the other important piece for me for the book, to make sure that my hands were showcased, because they were just like, oh, do you want to take the picture? Yes. All of those pictures are going to be my hands. All of it.
Yeah. And I think too, that's so important to just talk about. Like, this book, does a couple of things in the industry and for just girls and kids in general, because it's so unfortunate that nowadays, until you kind of see yourself or somebody like you doing it, you don't always know that you're capable of doing it. Mm-hmm. So not only with showing your hands crocheting it, but also the many different outfits to show you can do anything. It doesn't matter what you look like. You can do it if you have this dream and this aspiration. And this allows people to have it in a doll form to go ahead and go forward and have that confidence and have that, like, okay to go and have those kinds of dreams and do what they love doing. Because to me, that's so sad, especially in crochet. Like, everybody can do it. It doesn't matter. You just have to do it, and so that's so wonderful. And I just want to show too, like, here's some of the examples of the different hairstyles. So you've got totally everything you could imagine really in here to be picking to mix and match with your person. And then you've got all this clothing that goes with it. So you've got like a basic outfit that you can put together. And then you could really mix and match this along the way. Like, you don't have to stick with one style. And the cool thing too is that as you go through, so like, here's the school uniform, and each of the dolls that the outfits are on are all different. So as you go through, it's not like one doll with the same outfit on a bunch of times. Every doll is different. I love this one with her hair. This one is braided, but there's different options that she shows in the book. It is so great. I love it so much. So which is your favorite outfit of the book? Do you have one?
And shout out to MKTU. If you know, then you know. But my favorite outfit is definitely the Parisian girl. And I remember the first time that I went to Paris, and I was just like in awe. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in Paris. I am like taking pictures out here at the Eiffel Tower. If you follow me on Instagram, there's actually a photo of me like twirling in front of the Eiffel Tower. And so it was such an amazing feeling when I went, and I just knew that there was going to be a Parisian inspired outfit for the book, because again, these are like subtle things that I wanted to kind of put in there, that, hey, we also can travel. We can go to these different destinations. For some of us, the thought of going to Paris is just like that's just a thought that we don't have, or if we do have the thought, it might be that'll never happen for me. And so not only to see, isn't she cute, but not only to see, a doll with this Parisian theme outfit on, but to actually know and say, hey, this is a place that I can actually visit. This is a place that I can actually go and show up and be myself was super, super important. Again, they're like little subtle things like the soccer player and the softball or baseball player, whichever one you want it to be. Those were just like little subtle things that I wanted to just kind of put in there, because it was just important for me to be able to express that, like you said, whether it's an adult making the doll for a child or the adult sharing it with a child and saying, hey, which doll would you like for me to make? And they're able to flip through and be like, well, I identify with this doll, or, oh, I never thought about doing this, or can we make that basic outfit, but can we change the colors to this because purple is my favorite color? Or I've had people make the schoolgirl uniform for the school that they attend. And the same thing with the soccer player, like, oh, this is my team. And now I can, make a doll to represent the team that I play for. So all of those little things. And I tell people all the time, though, patterns and books are just a guide. I never want anybody to say, oh, I have to make it exactly the way Yolanda made it. The awesome thing about crochet is that it's done with your two hands. Your two hands will never do what my two hands do, no matter, even with the pattern. Yeah. But the great thing about it is that your two hands can create something completely awesome. I think someone used one of the patterns to make like a bunny rabbit. I didn't see a bunny rabbit, but she saw a bunny rabbit. Yeah. And so she was like, oh, I hope you're not offended. And I was like, why would I be offended by that? I am amazed that this is what your mind saw when you saw it. And so for me, it's like, can we spark some creativity? Can we spark somebody to do something different? Can we see something different? And so I'm excited to know that, again, my name gets to be attached to that, and that this book is out there in the world for people to consume and do, these amazing things with.
Yeah. I mean, and also speaking to that, we've got a couple of people commenting in here about it's perfect for my Hispanic granddaughters, or somebody else was talking about their Native American heritage. And again, it's just putting it out there that it's okay to not be the standard that's out there. And, just like, we're saying it's great to see yourself, and we're talking about most of the community. I don't know the exact percentages, but there's definitely a larger percentage of forward-facing designer talent that is of the white heritage. And so, yeah, that's what they're going to make because that's what they know.
Exactly. And I cannot be upset about that. That was the thing, because somebody was like, well, would you be upset if it was called My Pretty White Doll? And I was like, no. Like, why would I be upset about that? This is not about excluding anybody. When I started My Pretty Brown Doll, it was not about excluding anybody. I was like, everybody's included. If you want to be a part of this, please come on. I am happy to have you here. But understand that it is still a representation of who I am. Yes. I can't ask anybody to represent me better than me. Like, I'm just like, why would I be upset with you for representing you? Right. When I can represent me, like, it's okay. I have seen some beautiful, beautiful dolls that have inspired me to create something that looks like me or more representative of me, just by doing a Google search. Like I said, I go and search, and sometimes I see, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is so cute. Like, I saw a strawberry shortcake doll that was so cute. It gave me an idea for a different doll that I wanted to make. But if I had never saw the strawberry shortcake doll, I may not have, like, that may not have been sparked. And so I hope that, like someone said, like whoever said the Native American doll, I cannot wait to see what you create, because I know it's going to be amazing. And I'm glad to know that this said to you, oh yeah, I can do that. I can make a doll that represents me, because I think sometimes because you don't see it, you just think, oh, well, I never thought about it until I saw it. Well, now
Yeah.
you see it, and now it's like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Right. And I think it's something that you don't necessarily think about, because just for instance, in any pattern, it seems that a lot of people have a hard time. Like, this top here originally was in a gray color. And so when the photos go out and it's a gray top, it can be very hard sometimes to imagine it as another color, if you're going to like it, if it's going to be right for you. And so this like gives you that picture in front of your face that
Exactly.
it can be made. You can tweak these dolls to be anything you want. I mean, really, if you love a doll and an outfit in here, even if your hair doesn't look like this, make hair that looks like you and take one of the outfits and put it on your doll. Like, that is okay. You don't have to make this doll with this outfit. Like,
exactly. Like, even with the scientist, like, she has like that reddish brownish hair. If your hair is not reddish brown, then don't put reddish brown hair on the doll. Like, and that was, like you pointed out, like, they're all different, but that was also the important piece for me. I was like, well, if I just do the one doll and then just change her outfits, then everybody's just going to think that it has to be this one doll with the Afro puffs and this one outfit. But if I change the skin tone on each doll, and then we change the outfits, we change the hairstyles, now you can, like you said, it begins to say, oh, what if I take the ponytail hairstyle and put it on the ballerina? Or what if I take this hairstyle and do this? Or, I've had people, like, because I have like a support group on Facebook and they post their pictures. I've had somebody do like some Bantu knots with the yarn. I was like, when I say I was sitting there with my mouth just open, because I was just like, that is so gorgeous. Like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. And I couldn't stop saying, because I didn't think of that. But it was absolutely gorgeous that she saw the mermaid. I saw somebody do like a little bow top on the mermaid instead of the stars. And so I'm just like, I am happy that it has sparked the imagination, that it has sparked creativity, that it has said to people, I can do something different. And that was the goal. That was the purpose, for you to see it and be like, I can do that. Like, we can do this. It doesn't necessarily have to be this, and it can be just as pretty as this. Whether your hair is curly or kinky or straight, it can all be pretty. Like, there's not this standard. It is whatever you decide pretty is for you. Like, it doesn't have to be this thing, like the person who made the bunny. If that's pretty for you, it's a pretty bunny. Like, I'm not mad at you. It's a pretty bunny. It does not have to be a pretty doll. It can be a pretty bunny.
Yes. No, and I love that so much. I hope everybody is getting inspired by this book. Oh man. And we'll pick up their hooks. So let's just talk briefly too. Okay, so I'll be honest. I am not the biggest amigurumi maker, because I tend to have a lot of issues with getting it to look just right with all my stitches and everything else. Do you have any tips for somebody who's a beginner, where they should start? Is this a good place to go to? Tell us, for the beginner, what they can expect.
For the beginner, so I have had people say they have made their very first doll from a pattern in that book. So I do my best to make it beginner friendly. What I will say, because people always say, well, what yarn should I use? And there are yarn suggestions in the book. It tells you what yarn I use, but you don't have to use that yarn. I always tell people, pick up a hook and pick up the yarn. You're going to have to see what works for you. Your tension is going to be the number one thing that you want to pay attention to with amigurumi, because it does need to be a little bit tighter than what it would normally be. You are using a smaller hook. All the patterns either call for a 3.75 or a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. Even with those hooks, I still tend to crochet loose. So you might have to go down a hook size, but you might have to go up a hook size. My main suggestion is pick up the yarn and try it out. Make the head. And if you don't like the way the head looks, then try to make another one. Also use the same hook size, same yarn throughout for like the base of your doll, for the body of your doll. Don't do like a 3.75 for the head and then switch to a 3.5 for the body, because then the proportions are going to be off and you're going to be like, well, why does she have super long arms and this gigantic head? So try to, and yeah, tension, 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 pay attention to your tension with amigurumi.
So there is a question here or a comment from Joy. I have an awful time with joining limbs and the head and embroidery. I know we were talking. There's some videos. You have a YouTube channel that you
do.
Can they get there
my
from your
dolls are
website?
also worked leg up, which means you only have to join in the legs and then the arms are worked in, and then you do have to attach the head. But if you go to my YouTube channel, it's under My Pretty Brown Doll. I do have videos to help you with those tricky parts. But I am horrible at sewing on limbs too, which is why I like the leg up method, so that I don't have to sew the limbs. We join the legs in and then we join in the arms. And the only thing you have to attach is the head, which makes it super easy for me. And so I think that is easier, like for the beginner crocheter to do it that way as well. But I do have the YouTube channel for the trickier parts if you kind of get stuck on anything.
Awesome. We also have a comment in here from Jessica saying her daughter has kinky hair. So again, it's using that terminology to make people feel included and welcome, because, we can say
kinky is not a bad thing.
No.
Kinky hair is not bad hair. There's no such thing as bad hair. If it grows out of your scalp, it is good hair. Okay.
Yes, because there's people that don't have any.
Yes.
But yeah, it's using the terms, it's using the look, it's using what people can feel comfortable with and be included with, because that's what this community should be about, including everybody who wants to make with their hands and make beautiful things. Absolutely. And just things that they're proud of. So I think you hit it out of the park with this one. It's a phenomenal book. I do want to tell everybody we are having a giveaway. Let me see if I can get the right link in here. You can use the Google form link that I just put in the chat. So you can do it now while you're live, while you watch the replay. In a couple days, it'll be open until Monday, and then we'll be picking the winner. If you use the keyword doll, DOLL, you can be entered to win. And we're giving away 5 balls of Brava yarn. You get to pick whatever colors you want, and that's going to get you on your way to starting out your doll, the hair color, and some clothing to get started on your first doll, or maybe your 100th doll, hopefully, and just keep going. So, and the book, I also put a link in earlier for that. You can go ahead and pick it up. It's on sale right now on our website, or again, you can go over to Yolanda's website, and she has an option to get a signed copy if that's what you would prefer. So thank you so much for joining me today. This has been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Y'all, I want to see all the dolls. Tag me in all the dolls. Please, 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 because I want to see them all. But thank you, Katelyn. I appreciate it so much.
Please, as when you make your next book, come back again, or whatever else you're working on. We'd love to have you. You've been phenomenal. Oh, there was one question in the beginning that I forgot to ask. Somebody was asking about, do you still make custom dolls? I know on the website it says no. What's going on with that?
I do. It's just on pause for the moment. For those of you who know, and for those of you who don't know, I have a 1-year-old. So I waited a little while to have another baby. And so we do have a 1-year-old here who takes up all of his mother's time. And so the customs did have to pause for a moment, just until I figure out a better schedule with him and me, if there's such a thing.
No.
So they are paused for the moment. They are going to come back, hopefully for Christmas. I'm hoping to be able to take a few customs for Christmas, but they are closed for right now, just because I do not want anybody waiting forever and ever and ever to make a doll. To get
you have an email list or something, or where should people go?
They do. So if you go to the myprettybrowndoll.com website, there is an email list that you can sign up for. The moment they open, that's who gets the notice first, and then I tell Instagram and Facebook and all those other places. But the email list does get the notice first that they're open. And I am working on some ready to ship dolls that I am excited about, and I'm sure other people are going to be excited about as well. I don't want to, put anything out there just yet, because I don't know when they're going to be finished, but I promise you they are turning out really, really cute. And so if you're interested, like, in just a ready to ship, like if you just want a My Pretty Brown Doll, then you're going to want these, because they are so, so cute.
Oh, that's wonderful. So make sure you go sign up for her email so that you know everything that's going on first and you can get your name on the list. I do see some people putting the word doll here in the comments. You have to use the Google form and there'll be a spot that says
They're trying to
word.
win. They're trying to.
I know, but it doesn't count on here. It has to go into the Google form so that we have your email address that we can email you that you're the winner, and then you'll respond to us with your address so we can get it shipped out. So thank you again. This book is phenomenal. I want to shout it from the rooftops. Share with your friends when this video is then published. Please share it with everybody so they can all go get their book as well.
Yes.
Thank you again. I hope to see you soon, and we'd love to have you back in the future. So
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Everyone has a great rest of the week. Bye.